Hey Grammar 4, are you guys ready to do lesson 107, adding and subtracting fractions with common denominators? Because we're going to do it. So this lesson is probably going to be a review for a lot of you guys, so let's just jump on into it. Of course, guys, I hope you guys have done your facts practice and your problem solving and your mental math warm-up, but let's just get into this. So here we have an idea. Let's just kind of make it basic. If you have one whole apple and you have another whole apple, you have a total of 2 apples. Your commonality between each of these is that you have one whole apple. So your common denominator is that you have an apple, total of 2 apples. Well, the same applies when you have fractions. You have your numerator, which is your top number, and your denominator, which is your bottom number. Your denominator tells you your whole. Here we have 3 pieces, which make up one whole. And of the 3 pieces, I only have one highlighted to represent 1 out of 3, or 1/3. When you add fractions with like denominators, you're adding fractions that have the same whole, which means you can then go ahead and just add your numerator all across. You always keep your denominator the same because you're still representing that same whole. We're still talking about thirds here. But if I were to combine 1/3 plus 1/3, I would get a total of 2/3. So let's go ahead and look at example 1. Here we have 3/5 plus 1/5. So if you come on over here and we fill it in, we have 3/5, which is 1. Here, I'll do a different color. If it will let me. There we go, there we go. So we got 1, 2, 3/5 plus 1/5. Well, how many fifths do I have filled in? I have a total of 4 fifths filled in between both of these numbers. Now, if I were to subtract that, 3/5 minus 1/5, which is the next example, it's the same idea. If I have, and I'll use a different color here, and I'm going to work from the bottom up. If I have 3/5, 1, 2, 3, and I take away 1/5, how many do I have all together? Well, here I have 2/5. All right, same idea. Oh, and I probably should show you what that actually looks like. So here's what it means. 3/5 minus 1/5 gives you a total of 2/5 that are left over because we crossed off this guy right here when we crossed off here. So 2/5 right there. Okay, let's go to example 3. It has 2 3/5 plus 3 1/5. The same idea here. We have the common denominator of 5. So we can go ahead and add our numerators. So we now have 4/5, but we also have to add our whole numbers. 2 plus 3 is 5. So 5 4/5. Let's look at example 4. It says subtract 5 2/3 minus 1 1/3. So we have the same denominator, which means we can just subtract our numerators. 2 minus 1 is 1. Our denominator is 3. And we're going to take away or subtract 1 from 5 as our whole number so that we are left with 4 1/3. All right, let's look at this example 5. It says in the race, Martin rode his bike 7 1/2 miles and ran 2.5 miles. Altogether, how far did Martin ride his bike and run? Well, we're just going to go ahead and add these because we're looking for altogether, which represents a sum total. So we have 7.5 right here and 2.5. Add those together. Well, first we recognize that we have the same denominator. So we're just going to add our numerators. 1 plus 1 is 2. But here's something tricky. When you have 9 2/2, what does that reduce to? Well, 2/2 is equal to 1. So we're just going to go ahead and say 9 plus 1, and he's going to have rode? Oh, geez, sorry about that. Run. He will have run and rode his bike 10 miles. There we go. All right, let's do this lesson practice now, guys. Go ahead and do A through N. Make sure that you have a parent or somebody check it to make sure that you get it all right. And when you're done, hop on over to your mixed practice. All right, hope you guys are having a great day. Bye.